Hey guys, and welcome to the FPL Tips YouTube channel for the Redline stream. Unfortunately, Anshuman is not there here today, so I'll convey that the Son transfer paid off for you back. It's a little early for him, so some deadlines are which are at not the ideal time. He wouldn't be able to make it, and so I am here today, and I'll be here taking you through all the important questions, important team news, early team news if there are any. We have news that Madison is fit and will start. So all the issues of him not training, uh, not being in the training video yesterday is resolved, and we have news leaked that he probably is fit and will start. Other than that, we don't have any leaks. But I think for free hitters this week, Region probably is an important transfer important news you'll need. Elanga also definitely, and in my team, I'm currently not using the free hit, and I'm looking to bring in Elanga. I think he will start. From the comments which was made by Nuno, he thought that the previous match they needed pace in the attack, and the team was playing better in the second half. That's when Elanga came, and Elanga has been starting. His minutes has been pretty good. I can just look at the minutes of Anthony Elanga over here, and um, yeah, so it's been 90, 90, 90, 90 for 4 games straight. Before that, 77. So he's been playing good football, regular football, and he's been in behind for the chances. And this is a game where I expect the wingers to be of big trouble, to cause a lot of problem for Luton, because as we saw in the midweek against Bournemouth, I think uh, Luton are struggling a bit. They have 5 centre backs who are injured. Their replacements are not quite keeping up with the pace. So I think Alanga if is a good transfer. -8 is worth it. Kakash, I'm just addressing your question. -8 will be worth it, but I wouldn't say it will also depend based on the transfers. I'm personally taking a -8 this week. That's because I'm planning to wildcard next week, and I see these -8s are in isolation as -2s because I'm removing a player who's blanking to a player who is definitely playing and has a good fixture. So I'm saying that the 2 points is a minimum, and I'm looking at it as a -2 for this. So but if I go for a defensive transfer instead, I don't see clean sheets so much this week, and I don't see that -4 or even -2 paying off. So it depends on the transfers you want to make. And if you are planning to wildcard in 31, I think there are quite a few teams next week. We can just look at the fixtures next week. Spurs play Luton, Aston Villa play Wolves, and you also have your Nottingham Forest play Crystal Palace. So just getting in some of these players would be a little would pay off. It's a decent -8 to take, I say. Voice is not clear. Is it clear now? Is my voice clear now? Can you please tell me in the chat if it's clear and audible? Any chance Turner starts? I don't think he'll start. I think Sells currently has his place and he's not lost it yet. Uh, Watkins news, nothing new. There was not a clear press conference from Emery also, but Emery said he will be assessed later, and it was a bit of a cut on his knee, but I don't think it should be a big problem. I think Watkins does start. I back him to start, so I will have him in my team even though if it's a free hit. Elanga or Gibbs White a better choice. I think both of them are pretty close, but I would prefer Elanga because his data is a little better. Non-pen XGI is a little better, and he is also playing on the right wing where a lot of problems were caused. But Gibbs White is definitely a good choice as well. I have 6 players with one being Watkins with 2 free transfers. Should I use my free hit? I think the game week 34 or game week 37 are better weeks to use the free hit. So if you have 6 players plus 2 free transfers, I mean Watkins, it's fine. I think most people will be still having Watkins whether they free hit or not. So having Watkins is fine. I think he will start. My money will be on him starting, but there might be a chance that he might fail his fitness. But I think 8 or 9 without using the free hit is good, and with a hit or two is pretty good for this week. Two and Warren saving the free hit because I think in game week 34 or game week 37 the free hit in double game week is much better. Are 8 players decent? I think they are decent. You can take a hit if you're removing a player who you don't want long term, who's blanking this week, to bring in a player like a Madison who is having a good fixture next week and also after that. So suppose you see Madison, I think I had one free transfer and I had made the move early for Madison because his price was rising. But look at the next 4 fixtures: Fulham away, Luton home, West Ham away, and Nottingham Forest home. So I think they are good fixtures for him, and I think they will pay off in the longer run also. So bringing him instead of someone like a Huang who is injured, I thought was a good hit to take. So some hits like this, I think, are pretty good, and you can back these hits. You can take these hits for 1 week or 2 weeks or whatever, and I save your free hit for a later week where there are double game weeks. And so one point to note, I think, which needs to be noted, we will be getting to know all the double game weeks closer to the next game week deadline. And the game weeks in 34, the double game weeks, the teams doubling in 34 and the teams doubling in 37 are probably going to be different. So the teams which lose in the FA Cup this week will probably be doubling in 34. So all these fixtures which are in this week will be put into 34. But the teams which don't, which win this week, can't double in 34 because they have an FA Cup fixture at that point also. So that double will be pushed to 37. So if you expect your Man City, Wolves, Liverpool to win this week, that their fixtures will be shifted all the way to 37. So Liverpool will probably have a bigger fixture at that point of the season. Pick 3 starters: Doughty, Roslev, Cash, Williams, Sufal. I think Doughty should definitely start, and probably I'd start Roslev because of the Burnley fixture, and the third one will be between Cash and Sufal. I don't think I'll start Williams. Elanga was benched last game. Yeah, he was benched last game, but there was comments made by Nuno saying that they were better once the wingers came on and for the pacey. And there are a couple of Nottingham Forest Twitter accounts who also predicted that Elanga is most likely to start. So Elanga shouldn't be a worry this week. Before I come to looking at some of your teams, I'll just probably just show the free hit draft that I've come up with for this week. I'm not free hitting, but if I were to free hit, this would be my team. I've used FPL.team to come up with the draft. I think my captain would still be Son, and Tony would be my vice captain, and that would be my team, which is Kaminsky, Doughty, Region, Koro, Son captain, Elanga, Bowen, Madison, Watkins, Tony, and Visa. I think I'll have the double Brentford attack. I prefer Visa this week to Morris and Nunez because of his recent form and him being a threat for from Brentford's point of view. Okay, so now I'll just come to the teams which are, you can send in your teams and I can start answering Q&A in a very trying to answer it in a quick manner. Kulusevski or Richarlison? I think Richarlison is probably gonna be in the squad, but I don't think he'll start. So if it's between the two, I think I'd say Kulusevski. Devang's team: Leno, Ariola, Gabriel, Saliba, Cash, Collins, Udogi, Saka, Luis, Palmer, Son, Bowen, Watkins, Mope, Haaland. Not sure about future plans, still call wildcard suggestions. I think you can probably field about 5 or 6 or 7 players in this week by taking hits and hold the wildcard. I don't think this is the week to wildcard. The next week, you probably get in your Arsenal players, Liverpool players, City players who have good fixtures. Arsenal and City do face each other next week, but after that, they have good fixtures. So I think I'd hold the wild card and try to take a couple of hits here and there to field your 7 or 8 quality players, attackers. So I'll say the essentials: Son, Madison, Bowen, Watkins, Tony, all these people who are essential this week and could score high, could hurt your rank. Try to bring them in and then try to wildcard after that. Bailey or Elanga for -4. I have Gibbs White. I mean, I'd probably then go Bailey. But I think for me, Bailey, Elanga, Gibbs White, Paqueta, Kudus, and even Douglas Lewis are all very similar. I don't think one could pay off, one could not. And this is a kind of a week. You just have to take a punt and go with someone who you have your hunch for. So any of these all of these are decent options. Any of these could pay off, and the other could blank. Take it on the chin and try to go with your hunch this week. Coming to the next week parts, the Walker, Doughty, Poro, Estupinian, Van Heck, Saka, Douglas Lewis, Foden, Son, Gross, Solanke, Watkins, Morris. One free transfer. What transfer would you make? I got Tony out last week for Solanke. I'd just bring him back in for Solanke this week. I think Tony is a great option this week. I'd also maybe get Madison in for either Foden or Saka this week because Madison has good fixtures afterwards, and Foden and Saka face each other next week. I have Ariola, Moreno, Bowen, Son, Doughty, and Morris, and I can get two more with the hit. Would you save free hit? Yeah, I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 plus 2 more with the hit. I think if you can bring in someone like a Madison or maybe a Tony or even a Watkins, if I'm expecting fit, so then you can hold your free hit. I'd say if you've come this far without hitting your free hit and you have a team where you can get 7 or 8 players, I'd say hold the free hit and then try to free hit in a later game. Um, yeah, so Path, I had suggested you to get back Tony and maybe also get the Madison out there. Would you not get out Gross? Should I get Foden and Gross both? Yeah, I mean, if you want to take another hit, you can also remove Gross for a Elanga or a Bailey or someone or cheap option. But then I think that depends on whether you have a wild card or not. If you have a wild card after this, then I would say taking even an extra negative hit for the next 2 weeks, I think would pay off, and then you can shift your wild card after that. Best wildcard free hits bend to strategy. I don't think there's one particular strategy this week. This season, I think all of them have their own pros and cons. And so I think now that you made your bed with free hit 29 or not, your strategy will change based on that. So what I'm looking at now, given that you have all three chips left without free hitting this week, then I'd say wildcard in 30 or 31, then free hit in 34 and bench boots in 37 would probably looks like the best strategy from now. But there have been people who are free hitting in 29, then while taking their team towards 34, wildcarding in 35, 36, and then bench boosting in 37, which is also a very viable strategy at this point of the season. Don't have a wildcard. Okay, I think that's probably yeah. Then I think in that case I'd probably maybe hold your Solanke, and I'd definitely bring in Madison because I think he has good fixtures in the medium term. And don't remove your City and Liverpool and Arsenal assets who you have if you don't have a wild card. Try to just bench them, hold them, keep them. I think in the long run they have great fixtures. But Spurs assets I definitely look at bringing in, even if you don't have a wild card. Yeah, you can still remove Gross, I think. Other than that, you can still remove him. I think Brighton will double sometime in 35 or 36. That's what from Ben Krellin's predictions has come out. But yeah, I think you can hold your wild card in. You can hold your moves. You can remove Gross for now, I think. Paqueta or Kudus? I exit toward Kudus, but I think both are good this week. But I think Kudus looked really good yesterday, and he's looking like the more threatening goal threat player, and he looks like a good finisher. He's got 3 double-digit calls in FPL this season. So I think Kudus edges it over Paqueta. I think he's the more explosive pick. Free hit 34 or 29, which is better? Depends. So it's team dependent. If you are able to field about 7 or 8 uh, players without a hit, or even like 6 without a hit and 2 more with a hit, with a hit or 2, I think holding the free hit to 34 might be better. But if you only have 2 or 3 and you need to free hit and you have a good team after from 30, 31 onwards, and then I think free hitting 30, 29 does still make sense. 3 defenders to start this week on free hit. I think the best 3 will be Doughty and Poro, I think, are the top 2. And the third could be either Region or Toffolo. I think both of them are expected to score similar points this week. Both of them are good assets. I'll just check for some team leaks or any news as well simultaneously and bring it to you on it. So far, I don't think there have been any team news. Kulusevski, a good differential this week. He's a decent differential. I expect him to start because I think he's very important for Spurs. But his minutes will be managed now that Richarlison is back. There is Johnson who could play on the right. There is Werner and there is Son. So they have a lot of options now. So I think there is a minutes risk, but I think he's a decent differential as well. Garnacho to Elanga and Bradley to a defender. Thoughts? This is with the -8. Garnacho to Elanga, I would do. Bradley to a defender, I would not do it because I think next two fixtures Liverpool have are good after this week, and Trent might not be back to start them. I don't think Trent will definitely be back for the Brighton at home fixture. So holding Bradley and not taking a -4 could be better because the clean sheet odds are not great this week, and I don't expect any of these teams to definitely keep a clean sheet this week. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what. Should I remove Foden and get Bowen, or remove Gordon and get Elanga, Bailey? Gordon to Elanga does. I mean, if you can, if you would like, you can do both as well. Depends on what chips you have remaining. But if you don't have your wild card left, then I would hold Foden. If you do, then you can just do Foden to Bowen as well. But Gordon to Elanga also on top of that, I think is a good move, and Bailey is also a decent option. So again, that comes to who you think, who you feel might be better, and there are a lot of good options in that fourth midfielder spot. Three midfielders definitely are Son, Madison, and Promet. Ariola, Rea, Gusto, Doughty, Moreno, Gabriel, Bradley, Bowen, Foden, Palmer, Son, KDB, Solanke, Haaland, Morris. Free 29 or 34. And from your team, I think you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Kaisen, how many transfers do you have? I'd like to ask. Based on that, I would like to suggest if to 6 is still fine if you can take a couple of more hits and field 8. I don't think it's bad, and I think it warrants holding a free hit now that we've come so deep into the game week, only half an hour left for the deadline. I have wildcard, triple captain, free hit, and bench boost left. Okay, that's great. I think in that sense, I think you can remove both of them and hold the free hit this week, and then wildcard as soon as this is done, 30 or 31, you can wildcard. Then you can use your bench boost, your free hit at some point at 34, and triple captain. I think you'll have to use on a probably a Palmer who might get a double game week at 35, 36, and then 37 might be your bench boost. I think that looks like a great strategy. One free transfer. I think then you can use the free transfer to make it 7 players playing this game week, and maybe take a hit or two on top of that to make it 8 or 9, which I think should be viable for this week. Bench one, Watkins or Elanga or Wissa. I think I'd start Watkins this week. I don't think I can. You should bench him. It's either 90 minutes or he misses out totally. That like they look like the more likely. It could be that he comes on as a substitute as well, but most likely, I think Watkins is kind of a player who is, if he's anywhere close to 80 to 100% fit, he'll definitely start. Otherwise, he'll miss out totally. So that's why I think you can start Watkins, and if he comes off, and then you can bring in Elanga or Wissa. I think I'd probably say Wissa is a little ahead of Elanga this week, but both are good options. Bailey or Elanga, whom to start? I think I'd edge Elanga, but all good options. Again, there's no definitely, I can't say for sure that Elanga will score more points than Bailey. So it's up to your hunch in this game week, as I'm saying. Should I do Solanke to someone who plays this game? I think Solanke to Tony is a very popular captain, popular transfer, and should be viable as well. Son or Tony captain, I think both are good options, but Son is probably the best captain this game. Wissa or Morris, I'd say Wissa, but Morris is also a decent option. Again, like Bailey, Elanga, Douglas Luiz, Paqueta, Kudus, all these players, like anyone could outscore the other, and they are all capable of outscoring the other. So there might be a little bit of variance in this fourth midfielder, third forward picks this week. So I don't think it's a definitely Wissa will outscore Morris kind of situation. If you have a hunch that Morris will outscore Wissa, definitely go ahead with it. If not, I personally think Wissa is slightly the better option because he's been in very good form. Morris has been in okayish form also, but he's been in very good form, and I expect a few goals in the Brentford-Burnley game. Don't have funds for Solanke to Tony, then I'd probably do a Wissa or a Morris this week. I think even a Muniz, I think, is a good option if you want to hold your wild card till 31. Then you can do Wissa, Solanke to Muniz, and then if you have somewhat funds, you can do a Saka to a Salah or something also next week, and captain Salah back. Most important players this week. I think if you can look at the screen with the free hit draft, I think Son, Madison, Bowen, Watkins, assuming he's fit, and Tony are my top five most important players who I want to own, regardless of whether there's a free hit or not. More than that, you might have a Doughty or a Poro, and or even a Taylor who I'm starting in my own team, and you can just start them and keep them. So I don't think owning any of them is essential or important. But I think the five players are Son, Bowen, Madison, Watkins, and Tony. And um, over that, you can maybe take a hit or two to get one of these players who could pay off this week. As I mentioned earlier, that the hits for a blank player might just be a -2, and then if you want to wildcard them back in, or you can just bring them back in a later game week when these players have good fixtures. I think that's fine. But point to note, don't if you don't have a wild card, I'd advise not transferring in any of Elanga or Vissa or any of these transfers, because for especially if you have good players who are going on, then I think you'll be stuck with these players wanting to transfer them out, and that is not a very ideal situation to be in. Vissa or Elanga start one. It's close. I edge it towards Vissa. KDB to Madison and Solanke to Tony -4. Yeah, I would do it. I think both are good transfers, and you could keep them for a while as well. And I think Brentford's fixtures. Let me just come up with Brentford's fixtures. Is slightly going under the radar. So bringing in Tony's fixtures after, look at this. Burnley away, Man United home, Brighton home, Aston Villa away, Sheffield United home, Luton away, Everton away, Fulham home, Bournemouth away, Newcastle home. They're all decent fixtures which Tony can score, and good fixtures from an attacking point of view. Yes, they don't have a double game week in coming after this, but he plays every week, and the fixtures are pretty decent. So if you don't have a wild card, Tony looks like a very good transfer this week because of how good their fixtures are, and he can just be a set and forget in your team for a long run. So in that sense, I think Tony does become a good transfer. But even if you do have a wild card, I think for now and next week, Tony still becomes a pretty good transfer who plays this week, plays next week, and he's on penalties. He's 90-minute man. Yeah. Would you go Brennan Johnson over Madison as a differential, not free hit? I don't think I would go for it, and especially not for free hit. If you want for 30, you'll need Madison, and on a longer run, I think you mentioned you don't have a wild card, so I think I don't think I would take the risk. And there's a minutes risk, and also Brennan Johnson will come off early now that there's Richarlison, Werner, all of them available. I think 60-65 minutes is what Brennan Johnson would get, and Madison will get more than that. Madison is very important. Any league news, I will come with the league news. Why not free hit this week for me? I've been planning for this over the last few weeks. I've been taking hits here and there to try and field a team for this game week. And I think when you look at my team, I'm going to make two more transfers for before the deadline. But if you look at my team over here, I have Flecken at goal, who's probably one of the better keepers for the blank game week, and I don't see a lot of clean sheets in the defense. And Doughty and Poro are popular defenders. Taylor is my third defender. I'm not too worried. I'm maybe a Regulon gets a return or two, but I'm not worried over there. I don't think a defender is going to keep a clean sheet this week. I have Madison, Son, and Bowen, and I'm going to make a fourth transfer over here. And then I have Morris, Watkins, and I'm going to make another transfer of Solanke as well. So I think I'm well lined to with a -8 to have a decent free hit team, a decent team in this blank game week, so that I don't need to use a free. But that this is second team dependent. I was looking at this week where I didn't want to free hit, and I wanted to wildcard immediately after this because I'm looking at some fixtures after the wildcard, and if you just come to some of these fixtures, I think from 30 onwards, Liverpool have good fixtures, Spurs have good fixtures for a while, Arsenal have good fixtures. City have good fixtures from 33 onwards. Newcastle have very good fixtures from 30 onwards. So I wanted to jump in on these and do my free hit in 34, where I think probably Man United will be doubling. Newcastle might double. Crystal Palace might double, and get these players who will probably not be in my team on a long term, and then keep my team where expecting Arsenal, Liverpool, and City to double in 37. It's all a little speculative right now because we don't know who's playing in the double game weeks. But I think it's for my team, I think it made a little more sense to hold the free hit. But I think free hit also is a good strategy. Is Walker a sell long term? I think more of a sell than not. So selling him now, I think, does make sense. There are good defenders around as well, so you don't need to keep Walker long term. Estupinan to Region for another hit. Okay, that I might be taking. I might be tempted to take because Estupinan is not starting games so frequently. He's been a very big miss in terms of minutes of late. So I think that's a decent transfer to make as well. Just give me a second. I'm just gonna complete my transfers before taking in more of the questions. So So yeah, I just completed my transfers, and this is how my team looks after the transfers have been made. I brought in Elanga and I brought in Tony. Tony will be my vice captain, and I removed Saka because I think I have more value attached on Foden personally in my team. So that's why I've removed Saka, and it depends on your team and how much value each player has. If you want to remove one of Foden or Saka. So this is how my team looks, and I've locked in with this. Flecken at goal, Doughty, Poro, Taylor, Son captain, Madison, Elanga, Bowen, Morris, Watkins, and Tony, vice captain. So yeah, I've taken a -8, which is I think fine for this week, and I'll be looking to wildcard next week. Coming back to the Q&As, I have 8 players to field. Should I free hit? I don't think you should free hit with eight players to field. Maybe take a hit or two here and there, and look at players who are good, not only for this week, or also for 30, because some of the players this week have good fixtures in 30, like Spurs, like Nottingham Forest, like Brentford, like Aston Villa. For Udogi, I think it's close. Off late, Udogi has been a little more attacking, but for this week, I'd just say Paro. But if you want to carry it on for the next few weeks, I think the difference in prices in such a way that Udogi does become the more valuable asset. So you can go Udogi. Differential defender, I already own Udogi, Region, and Tauti. I think these three are enough for you to field in this game week. I don't think there is any question to field a fourth defender, even if you're not in a free hit. I don't think you make a transfer to bring in a fourth defender without a free hit, and all free hit drafts have three defenders. It's either 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. I don't think I would make a fourth defender transfer. Gusto to Poro for an extra hit. I don't think I would do it. After this, Gusto has good fixtures, and it's a defensive transfer, which I'm not keen about. Should I get Madison? I mean, Poro could come up with pretty good return, but I don't think there's a clean sheet odds. So the base is not very high for it to be good season. I think Embumo's on the bench, so it's a league which we have. So any punt on Embumo, just remove it. He's not going to start. Should I get Madison as my -4 to get my 8th player, or another attacker from Luton or Nottingham? I think Madison is priority. Vatsal, I think ask along with Son, Madison is also pretty good this week and also for game weeks after this. Would you prefer Tony over Nunes long term or someone else? I think if I'm making the transfer now and I don't have a wild card, I think Tony is fine. But I think Nunes with the double game weeks with Liverpool's fixtures is probably going to be in my wild card team. But yeah, I think it could pay off. Tony over Nunes could pay off. Tony is going under the radar with the fixtures, so it could pay off. You're wildcarding in 31, then hold the transfer. Keep Madison for next week as well. Don't remove Poro. Gusto has 30. Burnley at home in 30, which is pretty decent enough. So I don't think you get that negative is also warranted. I have Region, Taylor, Doughty, Burn, Gabriel, Saka, Son, Bowen, Garnacho, Foden, Watkins, Morris, and Haaland. Should I do Haaland to Visa or Foden to Madison? Rishabh, if you're going to wildcard soon in 31, then I think you can do Foden to Madison. Foden to Madison, I think is a better transfer than Haaland to Visa. So you can just do Foden to Madison regardless. But if you're wildcarding, then you can bring back Foden. I don't think Haaland to Visa is warranted over that. But if you want to take a -4, you can still do that. But I don't think I would remove Haaland for a -4, especially if you don't have wildcard, definitely not. If you have a wildcard, also I don't think I would do that. Who plays striker for Forest? I think it's gonna be between Wood and Awoni. Taiwo and Chris Wood. Uh, and I think there is a 60-40 towards Wood to start from some of these predictions which have come out. There is if I do get any team news on whether Wood is starting or not, I will tell you. Okay, guys, there is also team news that Region is starting. So whoever had Region in your free hit, he starts. So um, yeah, so that's with the team news so far. If there's any Wood news, I would tell you Wood is also a decent player to have as your third striker in the free hit. That brings him in as well. Solanke and KDB, Tony and Madison, I think I would do it for a -4, definitely. Especially even if you're wildcarding in 31, I think it's a good -4 to take. Roslev or Region, now that Region starts, Region. So Sweet on one sec. I have 6 players playing. I bought Madison and want to take one more. Could you please tell me best mid or forward, please? Can you please tell me your mids who you have right now, and then I will tell you who's the better player to pick after this. Why not Douglas Lewis? I think Douglas Lewis has been a very sleeper pick. He's been scoring a lot of points, but one reason is McGinn is sent off and Kamara is also out, and Douglas Lewis might take a little more defensive position this week. But he's still a very good option. But if he was at home, I think it would be more appealing to me. Douglas Lewis at home versus Douglas Lewis at away from home this season have been starks apart. Him at home has been a beast. He's been getting point after points after points. So I think that's with that. Walker to Udogi, Region, Garnacho to Elanga, and Solanke to Visa -8 to field 7 players. I don't think I would do Walker to Udogi. I would go field 6 players. If you want, you can take that hit in a midfielder also. Garnacho to Elanga and Solanke to Vista are warrant hits, but I don't think Walker to Udogi warrants hit. Any leaked lineup, I think so far the two leaked things are Reguilon's thoughts and Mbumo's bench. No leaks from Nottingham Forest here. Should I take an extra -4 to get Region? Then I'll have 8 players with -8 to stick to 7. I mean I wouldn't take a -4 for Region. I think him starting in it's a free hit related question. I don't think he's a defensive transfer worth getting this week. So I would hold the -8. My players Taylor, Pedro, Son, Morris, Ariola, Watkins. Then I think bringing in Madison or Bowen might be good. So oh, you just bought Madison and want to take one more. I think bringing in Bowen is pretty good. You can bring in Tony also. Those are two good players to have this week and decent transfers. So either of them would work out. And if you want, I think Tony might edge it over Bowen for me because of his long-term good fixtures as well. Son or Tony for captain Son edges it over Tony. I think Son is the best captaincy this week. Does Vista start? I think he starts. I think he's been performing really well. So I don't think he can be benched. Elanga or Gibbs White close. I'd say Elanga because of their weakness on that flank and him having a better goal threat. Roslev or Region. Uh, will Chris Wood start? If there is leak, I will bring it to you. But there is no definite leak yet. He might start, but Avenue is also there. So yeah, anything could happen over there. So I don't think I would take the risk with Chris Wood. I would just bring in Visa or Morris or even a Muniz and start them this week. Should I do Foden to Madison this week? Probably gonna do wild card in game week 30 or 31. I think Foden to Madison is good. Even when Region is yellow flag, Region starts is a team league we have. I'll just put it on chat as well. Region and Region starts and Mbumo on bench. Guys, there is less than 10 minutes for the deadline, so I'd say lock in your teams. And if you are in a last minute free hit choice, finish it now. Make as many transfers as you can. Press the free hit button and get in your teams locked in. There's only less than 10 minutes. I'll come up with more. If there is any more leaks, I'll come up with it, but there aren't yet. Tony to Solanke makes sense, right? Yeah, Solanke to Tony. I mean, Solanke to Tony makes sense. I've done it this week as well. I'll just go to my team on the other tab. Yes, I've done Solanke to Tony. Is there in my team, and I think I'd recommend you to do that as well. Who to bench, Morris or Kudus? Front three is Watkins, Morris, Tony. I think Morris and Kudus is pretty close. I probably would edge towards benching Kudus because I think Morris' underlying numbers are a little better. And Nottingham Forest will also concede a lot of chances from set pieces. And Morris has been in the end of a lot of set piece chances of late. Foden to Son and Saka to Madison for -4. Is it worth it? Have wildcard but losing value. Yeah, I think losing value is definitely a concern over here, and I would maybe try to see if I can remove anyone else other than this if it's not if it's not possible. But I still think they are transfers which will pay off this week with points and also maybe even next week because Son and Madison have great fixtures in Luton at home. So probably I think compromising on value based on how much value you have, but compromising on value for points is definitely something I would be willing to do. And on a wild card, I can bring in back and Saka and figure out a way after that. Udogi or Poro? Poro for this week, Udogi on a long term. Flecken or Kaminsky? Flecken, I think my three Brentford assets for this week on a wild card are Region, Tony, and Wissa. So I think Kaminsky over Flecken. Morris or Elanga? Elanga. Kudus, Muniz, Elanga start two. Elanga and Kudus. Start one, bench one. Morris and Bailey. Morris. Whom to bench between Douglas Lewis, Bowen, Kudus? Bowen is going to definitely start. Bowen should start in your team as well. And out of Douglas Lewis and Kudus, I'd probably bench Douglas Lewis, but I don't think both are great options this week. But Douglas Lewis will be more defensive. I think Kudus is also a decent option, but I think Elanga is likely a better option. But out of these three, I would start Bowen for sure, then Kudus, then Douglas Lewis. Madison or Douglas Lewis, Madison, Morris or Elanga, Elanga. Best Villa defender this week, I think, because Moreno started in the midweek. I think Luca Dean ends up being the best Villa defender, but I wouldn't go there. Martinez is probably the best, as if you include goalkeeper as well. I have Ariola, Poro, Taylor, Doughty, Son, Madison, Bowen, Watkins, Morris. Already -4. Shall I bring Tony for -8? Thinking wildcard 30, 31. Have Saka, Palmer, Solanke, Gabriel, and Bradley. I think Solanke to Tony is worth another -4, definitely. That's what I've done as well. I think it's a good -4 to take. So do I remove Kudus for Elanga? I'd say I'd go with Elanga from my opinion. I think he looks very dangerous against a Luton attack. But this week, I think there are quite a few players, which includes Elanga, Gibbs White, Kudus, Douglas Lewis, Bailey. All of these have good potential, and Paqueta as well. All of these have good potential to score points this week, and all of them are not that much of a better pick than the other. So if you have a hunch on Kudus, I'd say go on with Kudus. I don't think that there is definitely going to be a situation where Elanga is definitely going to outscore Kudus. It could happen either ways. So if you will go with your hunch, take it on the chin. If the variants happen, variants will definitely happen with the third forward and the fourth mid. Because that is what is going to be differential in each and every team. I'm going with Elanga. You might go with Kudus. Someone else might go with Bailey. I think any of these three could get you more points. So that's my reasoning. But I personally like Elanga, so I would say Elanga. But Kudus is also a pretty good option. That's just basically my reasoning around it. Any good news? I think I'll try to bring it. Any Nottingham Forest news with Elanga starts, or any other news, I'll also bring in that. But I don't think it doesn't seem like we'll be getting any news because it's last minute, and yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're benching one of Kudus or Elanga for what impact? That means you're starting Watkins for sure, and you need to play one of Kudus or Elanga, right? then I just think go with your hunch. Leaks, as I mentioned earlier, Region starts, no other leaks. Embumo is benched, but I don't think that's a very important news. But Region starts, there's no leaks on Nottingham Forest yet. I don't think we will get any leaks as well. Hudson Odoi, I don't. I think he's the least of the three appeal from Nottingham Forest for me. I think Elanga and Gibbs White are better options. Hudson Odoi could start as well, but I think my expectation is for Elanga and Gibbs White to start, and also for Hudson Odoi to start as well, because they want pace at the back, and that's how, from a tactical point of view, how you attack Luton, because they are like they look very weak defensively, and the pace of Hudson Odoi and Elanga might definitely trouble them when defensively. So I think both of them start, but Elanga is the best option from Nottingham Forest, then Gibson. Send in any last one questions. Less than 3 minutes for the deadline. Please lock in your teams and get your captains right. Get your bench. I don't think there's like a lot of benching headache this week, other than if you're in a free hit. But yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to look for any news. No, I'm not seeing any last minute news as well on Nottingham Forest. So I don't think we have any news on that. I will just again put that Region starts uh, on the chat as well, so that people who didn't see can see. Morris or Elanga, I think so I edge it towards Elanga, but again, my my news towards that, I think no, still no news on Forest. I think Salah and 30 is a good move. Brighton at home when Arsenal and City face each other is probably the best captaincy option. Flecken or Kaminsky, uh, Bailey or Elanga, very close. Go with your hunch. I'd say Elanga. -8 for 10 playing ones. Hope saving free hit will be good. I think free hit in 34 would pay off. And yeah, good luck to you. Good luck to everyone. Have a great double blank game week 29. I think yeah, it's one of the most fun weeks of the season when there's a blank, a lot of dilemma and a lot of random players going up, and we are locked in now. And let's just see. Yeah, we are locked in. That's the team. My team. Flecken, Doughty, Taylor. Hopefully Taylor gets a return. That would be great. Poro, Madison, Son captain, Elanga, Bowen, Morris, Watkins, Tony vice captain. Yes, that's with it. And good luck to everyone. I thought, yeah, it was pretty good deadline stream. And yeah, hopefully next week, either Anshuman or I can come and we can try and make a few more videos as well. I think we've been a little inconsistent on that. And we'll try to make a few more videos, talk about like wildcard drafts 30, 31. I think I will be wildcarding myself. So I would like to put out my thoughts on a wildcard draft as well. So yeah, thank you guys. Kudos to you. Have a great game week. And please do drop a like, subscribe, and we will be coming up with more content. And until then, this is the FPL Tips YouTube channel signing off. Bye bye.